Hello my friends and welcome back to the channel. In this video I want to share with you something I've never shared on the channel before, and that is what led up to and the horror of my last relapse, which was almost 2 years ago now, and the lessons I learned from that relapse on the way up to it and during it have been an integral part really of me maintaining my sobriety and finding some sort of peace of mind and serenity over these past 2 years and sort of grabbing my life back, if you like. Before I do that, please, I need to make an appeal for any of you out there who've been watching these videos I've been making for the past 6 years. You and your family have had any help from them at all. Please help me to move the channel on by clicking the link in the description, perhaps donating the price of a coffee or whatever you can afford to help me get some equipment which will help move the channel forward, because I'm actually filming these on an old iPhone now, which is on its last legs, and I want to continue to do it and perhaps find and help some more people along the way. So thank you for that, and for those of you who've already done that, it really means the world to me, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So on to the subject of this. I was on a podcast. I was actually interviewed on a podcast the other day called the Eyes Wide Open podcast, which when it comes out, I'll link in the description on one of my videos. I'll let you know when it comes out for those of you who are interested in watching it. And I talked about something on there, and I realised I'd never talked about it on the channel before in great depth. I think people that follow the channel regularly knew that it happened, and in the past there'd been another relapse in the past which I documented quite well on the channel during the beginning of the coronavirus epidemic. But this one and the horror of it, you know, and I've had many relapses in the past, nothing has ever came close to this one. So during the run up to it, if you like, and I hope those of you who will take some note from this, first of all, when and if you do have a relapse, the things to be wary of and where it may lead to. But also the fact that one thing I want to get across from this is try and let go of the guilt and shame that inevitably comes with it, and the feeling that you've let yourself down and other people down. Because it can be, and it usually is, the gateway to find some sort of lasting sobriety and peace of mind, as long as you take the lessons you've learned from it and the run up to it, you analyse it carefully when everything in the dust is settled, and you start to move forward from it, and you don't dwell on it, and you don't pity, self-pity and all that sort of stuff, because, unless you make mistakes, it's the failures in life, if you like. I don't really like calling it a failure, but the mistakes or the slips you make in life that create the success you have in life, by learning from those slips and doing it better next time and moving forward and getting stronger. Small wins and small gains. So prior to this relapse, I had been on not this latest Camino de Santiago, but I was on a long haul Camino de Santiago. I was trying to complete it. I had about 800 kilometers to do from where I'd left it in the coronavirus epidemic. It was going to take me about 7 weeks to do it. And I trained extremely hard for it, but wasn't really prepared for the mental and physical turmoil that it brought me along the way, really. And I managed to get 5 or 6 weeks in until the suffering really started. The physical pain, first of all, but also the mental anguish, because I knew sort of deep down that I wasn't going to get it done, because my body and my mind were letting me down. Up to this point, I've been sober for quite a long time, like a long period of time, what I thought was happy sobriety. But what I didn't have in place at that point in time, apart from my family, of course, and I felt weakness talking to them about it. I wanted to complete it to prove how much, stronger I was since I'd been sober, and I wanted to get this challenge done. And I felt really weak with the fact that I knew in my heart and my head that I wasn't going to get it done. And I felt as though I'd let myself down and let them down as well. So I didn't have a support network in place when all these feelings started to creep in, these inevitable feelings. And I talk about hungry, angry, lonely, tired on the channel a lot. And I was on my own for a lot of the period of time out there. It's a lonely old route, that one. So I was definitely lonely. I was isolating in the fact that I didn't have this support network in place. I didn't have anyone to talk to about the way I was feeling inside. There was anger building up inside of me, real anger, frustration and resentment that I couldn't get this thing done. But I didn't recognise all these signs at the time. I just thought it was an inevitable part of me not getting this thing completed, And this anger was bubbling up, and it was on my mind constantly. And I knew that I was going to have to tell the family that I was going to have to turn back and not complete this. So I was lonely, didn't have anyone to talk to. I was angry, resentment, definitely tired. I wasn't sleeping, so sleep massively. I was sleep deprived and hungry. I was just eating shit. And one of the first signs that for me, because people talk about cross addiction. And I had this chat with Connor on this podcast the other day about cross addictions, and it depends on the reasons you're doing it for, really. It's like exercise, over-exercise and stuff. Well, if you're exercising because it, helps your mental health and it makes you feel good, then you're doing it for the right reason. If you're exercising to try and fix yourself and just just give yourself a dopamine hit to make yourself feel better, and if you're doing it for the wrong reasons because you're feeling shitty, then it might be a problem, particularly if you're overdoing it. Hunger for me, food. If I start eating rubbish, comfort eating, then I'm doing it to fix me. I'm doing it for that feeling of being wrapped in cotton wool. All the same feelings as I wanted with alcohol and I wanted with drugs, to change the way I was feeling at that moment in time. So I was stuffing shit down myself, basically. So hungry, angry, lonely, tired, all those things were in place. But I managed to get home okay. And these feelings, I got home and, sort of rested for a couple of days. And these feelings were, unbeknown to me, I thought I was shaking it off, but they're obviously all still hanging around. I wasn't a happy bunny at all. And then this one day, and this is how insidious addiction is and what I'm trying to get across in this video, to watch out for. There's a bin area near to where I live. All the bins are massive bins outside. They're underground, the bins. So people sometimes stack like bottles and stuff like that. Loads of bottle bin. If it's full, they stack the bottles next to the bins. Someone had put out a load of booze bottles by one of the bins, couldn't get them in. And one of these booze bottles was a vodka bottle, and it had about a third full of it was the top was on the bottle. I thought that's vodka. And it just clicked as I walked past it. And I kept walking. 3 days I was walking past this vodka bottle. And this is what I talked about in the last video, and I've linked it to this. Please have a look at it, about obsession. Because I became obsessed with this vodka bottle. It was on my mind. The moment I woke up, is it still there? I never picked it up, is it still there? I'm strong enough now. This is the conversation, the negotiation that was going on in my brain. I'm strong enough now. I've been sober for ages. I can cope with that. I can make myself feel better. I can have a really relaxing day today. Chill out. Drink that third of a bottle of vodka. Chill out. No one will know. Go to sleep. My brain's lying to me and telling me all this, go ahead. You won't do you any harm. You just have that and that's it. You start back again tomorrow. And I'll do it tomorrow is the killer of all hopes and dreams, believe me. But this is your brain lying to you in this negotiation, but consequently it ignites this obsession and this craving. And that's all the way I can describe it. Every time I walked past, I was looking at it. Until the third day, and it was the third day, I walked past, and the bins only get picked. I knew it was going to be there for 5 or 6 days probably, So this is subconsciously in my mind as well. And I walked past it, and the next thing I knew, it was in my rucksack. It was like an unconscious, it was almost like being an automaton, like a robot. And it was in my rucksack, and the excitement and the butterflies in my stomach as I did that was intense. And this is how addiction lies to you, and how obsession gets you, and craving gets you. And so I got it back, and I drank it, and I drank the whole thing in it. And of course, the problem is, when you've been sober for a long time, and this is what kills, a cautionary tale, kills a lot of addicts and a lot of alcoholics. You start off, on any relapse, you start off really from where you left off. It escalates all the time. It's worse every single time. Every relapse is worse. And and you start off, and your tolerance, may have been massive when you were drinking and using drugs. And you start off at that level, it can kill you. And I was really lucky in this respect that I drank that. The next thing I knew, within 2 hours, obviously pissed up, and I didn't know really, staggering down to Aldi, and I bought 2 more bottles of vodka. Now you explain that behaviour. It was almost like being a robot. The excitement of getting it back home. Of course, having drunk that and my body not being able to tolerate it, I got really scared, because I wasn't even a withdrawal going on. I thought I was dying. And I was dying. I had alcohol, by about 2 o'clock in the morning, my heart rate was at like 130, 140, because I was taking it, and I was getting so anxious, but I still kept having a drink, thinking that had solved the problem. This is how insane addiction is. The sweats, I had this feeling of doom that I was going to die. I was finding it difficult to breathe, obviously anxiety attack. There was all sorts of things going on. I had no energy in any of my body. I was shaking like a leaf. Even though I was drinking, I was shaking. There was a real reaction going on. So I phoned, I did what I swore I'd never do in any of this situation. I phoned an ambulance. I was really frightened, really scared, and became aware at that moment in time of my own mortality. I was throwing up in the sink. I must have thrown up 5 or 6 times before the ambulance even got here. And I still took a drink after every one to try and make myself feel better. Insane behaviour. As soon as they saw me and got to me, the ambulance, they knew it was a fair emergency. And they gave me an injection of diazepam, it must have been straight away, which sort of relaxed me a bit. And I was on a drip. As soon as I got into hospital, I was on a drip with an EKG on, and it scared the living shit out of me. It was the first time really, although I'd been through bad withdrawals before with opiates and alcohol, and self-managed some of them, which I wouldn't recommend, by the way. See a doctor always. This was something different. This was my sign, if you like. My body, my mind, everything was screaming at me, this is it. This can't go on. This is the last time this is ever going to happen. I had too much to live for at that point. And I didn't want to die. I discovered at that moment in time, that frightening moment in time, that I really didn't want to die. I wanted to live, and I had a lot to live for. And from that point on, my whole mentality changed towards recovery. All the years I've been preaching about it, my whole mentality changed. I surrendered. I'm fucked. I'm finished. I can't do this anymore. I can't fight this anymore. I'll do everything in my power, whatever it takes to stop this. And that meant me joining AA, which is not everyone's cup of tea, I know, but that was I needed connection, and I needed a peer group. And it meant me doing lots of things and it meant me becoming honest with my family, telling them the truth. It meant me becoming honest with myself totally and stop lying to myself. It meant me having integrity. So doing when people aren't watching you, doing the right things, really important. Consistency, routine, all the things that were important in my recovery, which you follow if you follow this channel. But it's a cautionary tale about relapse and about rock bottom, really, because people go on about rock bottom, but everyone's rock bottom is different for everybody, basically. And I thought I'd had I'd had rock bottoms in the past, but it was nothing like this. So for me, that was the life-changing moment, the moment that something clicked in my head, that I knew that and I only say in the day when someone asks me, like, are you ever going to drink or use a drug again? I say, I can't tell you that. I can't read the future, but I can tell you I'm not going to touch a drink or a drug or let one pass my lips in the next 24 hours. Because you're not powerless against addicts and alcoholics, or whatever you want to call it, aren't powerless against alcohol and drugs. But what they are powerless against is the first one, the first drink, or the first drug. Because once that goes in, that ignites the obsession, it ignites the cravings, and you can't stop. And that's how you know that there's an issue around your drinking and your drug using. You simply can't stop until you pass out, until you've caused massive negative consequences throughout your life. So I hope that's been useful for you. Please subscribe, please like the videos, please click on the link in the description and help out if you can. Be much appreciated. Carpe diem, my friends. Make today the day you change your life. Don't forget, a relapse is not the end of the world. You learn from it and you move forward. Much love to you all. Bye-bye.